My guess, if you're watching this video, is that you consider yourself to be middle-aged or beyond, and perhaps you're recently divorced or recently out of a relationship. Maybe you've been single for a long time. Perhaps you've tried online dating and in real life dating, being set up, not dating. Wherever you are in your journey, this video is created to support you with the energetic practices that will help you call in a soulmate long-term monogamous relationship. Perhaps you're wondering, how do I make myself available to find my person and call in my person in a grounded way, also acknowledging the age and stage of life that you're in and all the experiences that you have, all the wisdom that you've accumulated throughout the years. Dating can make us feel like teenagers or 20-year-olds again. So really coming into connection with your inner wisdom is critical. There is so much advice out there from psychologists and relationship experts and well-intentioned friends and family. This is not your typical advice. There's a place for all of that, but this is more about spiritual and soulful and energetic practices that will help you create clarity and alignment with a soulmate kind of relationship. In this video, I'm going to describe 4 different invitations for exercises that you can do and practices that you can engage in that will help you create that clarity and alignment. If we haven't met before, I'm Kimberly. I'm a spiritual teacher. I'm a coach. The reason I decided to make this video is actually because this topic keeps coming up with a lot of my friends and neighbors and community, and I find myself talking about this a lot. So I thought, why don't I just put together everything that I know and everything that I wish I knew when I was newly single about 11 years ago in calling in my person and put it in one long form video. My intention is for this video to give you comfort in knowing that you're not alone. Also give you some inspiration on practices and exercises that can support you in calling in your soulmate, and maybe even a little bit of comedy, because this journey, it's pretty funny. Just a little bit about me. I was married and found myself separated and divorcing at 40 years old. I had 2 young children at that time, and I remember feeling like a 20-year-old dater in a 40-year-old body. I was also in a different stage of life. I was newly divorced, raising young children, working, and mostly single parenting. All of these, of course, provided a lot of benefits to me and things for me to guide me, and also, some challenges. I mean, the whole thing was a journey. If I were to look back now and kind of paint a picture of it, it certainly was it was a windy road, but very worthwhile. First off, there are many benefits for you calling in your person or a soulmate kind of relationship at midlife or beyond. And one is that you've been through some bleep, like you know who you are, and you know perhaps even more clearly who you want to be in relationship and the kind of person that you'd like to be with. There are also some challenges when calling in your soulmate. Firstly, that you've been through some bleep and you carry that with you. Perhaps your heart is feeling a little tender or a lot tender. You've gone through heartbreak. Before we dive into the exercises, let me just talk a little bit about these terms. 1, the term calling in. I use this very explicitly because it's not a search and rescue endeavor, although sometimes it might feel like it is. Really, even this term finding my person, I find feels a little graspy, at least for me. So I love this term calling in. It's just like the phone. How do you call in someone? Who's going to answer the call? It requires that you're energetically available, that you're taking positive actions in the direction of your person, but it also does not imply a search or a hunt or search and rescue kind of operation. It also means that you're not sitting on your couch waiting. So calling in implies that action. And honestly, if someone just knocked on your door while you're sitting on your couch, you probably shouldn't answer. I'm using this term, your person. I also want to recognize from a spiritual perspective, there is very probably more than one person who you could call a soulmate in this lifetime. And the reason is Earth is very unpredictable. So I don't believe we come into a lifetime with just one potential person assigned as a soulmate kind of relationship. So I'm calling them your person. In fact, I believe there are your people out there who are also wanting to call you in. Also, I want to say, if you have the desire to be in a soulmate type of partnership, that desire is planted in you for a reason. And you might doubt the desire. I understand that very much. However, I do not believe that any dream is planted within us without an ability to fulfill that dream or fulfill that desire. So if this is something that you yearn for, that your soul is calling you to, then by all means, please take positive steps. It doesn't mean that the timing is exactly what we want, but the whole journey is in itself very important and can be very fulfilling. So the next part of this video, I'm going to share 4 different invitations. What you can do is just see which one resonates most with you and try that one now. You can come back to this video and reference it at any time, and I will put the timestamps in the comments so that you know where to go if you're looking for one particular exercise. One of the most productive things that I've done is called this relationship journey map. And I'm going to share with you an example of how to do this for one significant relationship, but you can do the same mapping exercise for as many relationships as you like. Do one, you can do top 3, you can top 33, whatever works for you. I invite you to start with the big one. Maybe it's the relationship you're just out of, or the one that was the most significant, or perhaps you're feeling the most tender around. I'm a writer, so typically I do this in journal form. If you're a visual artist, or you'd rather do this to music or to some sort of other type of art, or talk it out into a voice memo, please make this yours and do it in a way that feels most resonant to you. On your map, write the name of the person that you're going to reflect on that specific relationship. And the first area that I'd invite you to reflect on is about how you met, the story of how you met. So what was happening right before you met, how you actually met, what attracted you to this person, and bring up some wisdom around what was happening in your life and in the initial attraction phase. Next, reflect on what was positive about the relationship. What was positive about the person and their characteristics? What about the dynamic of the two of you? And what positive attributes of you came out in this relationship? Here you can reflect on what you learned about yourself and what you learned about love. Next, journal or reflect on what was challenging in the relationship. So what didn't work so well? Were there specific patterns that came up, either patterns in you or a dynamic between you and the person that were not so helpful? Once you've reflected on all of these areas, it can be helpful to say a goodbye to this person. Again, this is just energetic. You don't need to send this in an email to your ex-person, but to create some closure, some energetic closure, sending a farewell message of gratitude and what you learned about yourself and about love through this person and partnership can be really helpful. This exercise is not about ruminating on the past or trying to dig up bones, wishing things weren't over in the first place. It's really about finding peace and finding clarity that will serve you in your future partnership. The relationship journey map also helps you understand what it is you want to take forward into your soulmate relationship and what it is that you want to let go of, what you say yes to in the future and what you say no to. Have fun and be creative with this part. If you started out as an essay and want to change it to something visual or put it into music or any other mode, poetry, go for it. The second invitation that I have for you is called Relationship with Yourself Agreement. Okay, what does that mean? Basically, especially if you're just fresh out of a long-term relationship or a marriage type partnership, or you're grieving the loss of your partner, it can be very, very helpful to take some time and not be calling in your next person or your soulmate. Now, especially I'm talking to the serial lovers out there, the serial daters. I know I've been one. If you have been in relationships from the time you were 16 until now, it is so beneficial to take a step out of the game and let yourself have some time focused on yourself. There have been many times over the last decade where I decided I'm just going to take 6 months off and I'll have a relationship with myself agreement for 6 months. And at the end of the 6 months, because it was so nourishing, I extended that contract. So sit with this question. Is it in your highest good to take time and make an agreement to be with yourself? And if the answer is yes, then find out what is the right amount of time for you to take. Is it a month, 2 months? You decide and write down in an agreement, I have made a written contract to myself and signed it. Let people know who love you that you've made this decision. Now, here's a little bonus. If you've made this decision to be in relationship with yourself and honor this agreement with yourself, then take the opportunity to crush on yourself. So I don't know if anybody out there has this experience, but when you're dating and in the honeymoon phase with a new partner, sometimes it can feel like you spend a lot of time and energy crushing on them and looking at their pictures and thinking about your life together. That's all great. It is so life nourishing. That kind of energy is life giving. Now imagine instead of radiating that outwards, you're going to radiate it inwards towards yourself. So crush on yourself for 6 months, for example. Look at your own pictures and tell yourself how hot you are and how cool you are. And I even made myself what's called a feel-good file. So a feel-good file is when I write down things people acknowledge in me or things I want to acknowledge in myself, and look at that if I'm ever feeling bleh. So the relationship with yourself agreement, super helpful. And again, I know some of you out there, you want to do this. Some of you, you've done this relationship with yourself for too long, then go on to the next one. The third invitation is a visioning exercise, and this is a 2-part visioning. The first is looking at what are the ideal characteristics of your soulmate. What are their qualities? What are they like? What do you feel like in their presence? Now, here I invite you to be as specific or as broad as possible. I was just reading the memoir from Viola Davis, and she talks about calling in Julius, I think, in a prayer. She was praying and asked God to bring her this man from the South, a football player, a good man. And months later or years later, Julius came into her life, and she realized that she had made that prayer and was very specific about the kind of person she was calling in. So I believe that you can be specific about their qualities, maybe their hobbies, and the kind of person that they are. I personally don't want to get too hung up on their height, their shoe size, those kinds of specifics. I want to look more at the energy. What kind of person are they? How do I feel in their presence? The second part of this is to do an ideal day in the life visioning. So an ideal day, but an ordinary day. And what I'd like you to do is to write it out or voice memo it out. What is your day like with this person? So from waking up, if you wake up together or apart, and I want you to go through your whole day, bring in all of the senses and write it out as if it is happening. Write it in present tense. Write exactly the kinds of things you do together, what you enjoy together, the things that you talk about. This is a place where I'd encourage you to go back to the relationship map. And if there are things that didn't work in one of your relationships or the big relationship, then make sure that those are not included. So for example, if I experienced a relationship with a lot of drama, it really felt like a roller coaster ride. I don't want to put no drama. I want to put it in the positive. So I'm calling in a person where I feel a sense of harmony and compatibility and ease. So getting specific and clear on the ideal person, their qualities, the kind of energy that you create together, as well as an ideal ordinary day in your life together is super helpful because one, it creates clarity, and number two, helps get you in alignment with what you're calling in. The fourth invitation is called the catalyst exercise. And basically, this assumes that you have soul agreements in place with potential soulmate or soulmates. And what it does is it helps you catalyze those agreements. It's almost like, and I encourage you to do this if it resonates, but even if you're not online dating, if you open an online dating app and you put in your pictures and you write down what it is you're looking for, the ideal day in the life, and you make yourself energetically available, you put your location, etc., then this is already creating energetic opening for people to reach you. So this is the same thing, but you're doing it all energetically. But before you do the exercise, there are a few things I want you to journal on. So do this quickly without a lot of overthinking. But the first point is, where is your person living? So where is one of their locations or residence, or their main location and residence? So be clear on that. If you want them to be in your same zip code, then write down your zip code. If you want it to be in your county, or let's say I'm based in New York City, but I spend a lot of time in Paris, you can also put two potential cities that you travel to, or states. Really, that's up to you. Where are they in the world? The second part is to describe the person that you're calling in and their qualities. So going back to the last exercise, your ideal partner, look back at those qualities, characteristics that they embody. You can put things here like their gender or gender identity, their age range, again, how you feel in their presence, a little bit about their personality, whatever feels right. The third thing is to reflect on places where your soulmate can reach you. Where are the places that you frequent? Your neighborhood, restaurants, grocery stores, your hobbies. Are there people that could help connect the two of you? If you're on dating sites, list those, or social media. Make a list of all the ways that you're accessible to meet your person. Once you've reflected on these three things, I would like you to go into nature, ideally. You can do this sitting at home on your couch, but if you have a body of water nearby, a river, a lake, an ocean, water amplifies energy. So take this there. You can pause this video and go step by step if you like. First off, set the intention that you will activate and catalyze the soul agreements that you already have in place to meet your person. Next, be very clear about the region or regions where your person might be located. Then I'd like you to begin the process of centering within yourself and connecting with your soul's essence. I know this sounds very esoteric, but it is a simple exercise. So breathe into your heart and breathe out until you feel this illumination of light, like a sparkler, right outside of your chest area, your chest center. You might imagine that there's a color or colors associated with this light. Next, allow your light to radiate outward. So allow with each breath your light, these colors to radiate outward, especially over the region or regions where you're calling in your person. So for example, I might allow my light to radiate through the whole state of California. And I might also let it radiate to Paris and Dubai. Again, just very naturally and effortlessly allow that light to expand outward. And with this expansion, imagine that your soul essence is touching all the souls that are in that region. So do this while visualizing. Perhaps you're visualizing like the map or the streets, or your energy going through the streets. And do this part until it feels complete. Start by saying out loud your full name, your current location, one sentence about what you want. So for example, my name is Kimberly Blanchard. I'm currently based in Los Angeles, California, and I am calling in my soulmate. Next, describe the specific qualities of the soulmate that you're bringing in. Again, here you can be as broad or specific about the person as you'd like to be. Here you're using everything from your reflection on the kind of person that you're drawing in. Now that you've connected with souls that will connect you with your soulmate person, will be involved in this process, and your soulmate themselves, you're going to let them know how this person can also find you. At this point, you have catalyzed the soul agreements that you have in place. So we're just solidifying it by letting them know where it is they can find you, where are the places, either in the physical addresses where they can reach you, and also any internet ways that they can reach you, like dating sites or Instagram or Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. As a thank you to all the souls that you've touched, again, imagining that your soul essence is reaching all kinds of people that you have soul agreements with. You'll just send them a little puff of love with your light, a sense of gratitude, and then bring your soul essence back so that you imagine that it's sitting again like a sparkler right outside of your chest center. Imagine that all your energy is coming back from all those regions, that you have activated soul agreements with your person and people that will draw you together. And then breathe and imagine that your soul essence comes fully back into your heart space. You might imagine even like a little door is closed, and take some breaths. Now that the soul agreements are activated, again, it's not a time to just sit on the couch, but it's a time to take positive steps and be connected with your intuition. So if your intuition says, well, I typically go to this grocery store, but today I'm feeling called to this grocery store, then trust yourself and follow your intuition. A couple reminders as we close. Don't allow the past or any regrets or things that have not gone well to seep into your future. The past can inform your future. It can be very helpful. You can get lots of wisdom from the past, but your gaze does not need to be fixed on the past. This is all about creating a future vision. Remember, it doesn't cost you anything to believe it to be true. This is about committing to your worthiness, to creating clarity about what it is that you're calling in, and being in energetic alignment for a soulmate kind of partnership. In the comments, I would love to hear your experiences with trying out any of these practices. I'd love to hear questions and things that come up for you on your journey. Please also join my newsletter, newyorkminutes.org, so I can send you all of the latest on my events and teachings. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.